Five, four, three.
Good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and always with me, my hetero life mate, Oh My Feelings. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty good. How you doing, bud?
There was a half a second there where I thought, well, is he back from bathroom break or not?
Yeah, I'm good.
What is the Reel McCoy, you might ask? The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to go watch a movie, you watch it, come back to us, and we break it down and we talk endlessly about it. Yeah, I know it's not the best. I'm still working on an intro, 151 in.
I know.
That works for me. It's that last line that just doesn't work. We'll head to the main offices and we're working on it. Okay, I promise you. All right. Last week we asked you to go and watch the movie Parasite. It's a Korean movie. Highly acclaimed Korean movie that won an Oscar, won several awards. We're going to get to that in a minute. I have never seen it before, but as per usual, all my feelings when we kind of discuss about these things, about these movies, what we're going to watch, what we want our audience to watch, you are... I hate to say that you're the more aficionado when it comes to movies that are maybe less commercial, but this movie that comes from Korea was super commercial that I kind of missed not watching. And I've watched it for the very first time. So this time around, I have my sort of that's my view of it. Same as it was for I Saw the Devil, and kind of the same as it was for Mandy, right? So I have that I'm feeling for it. So it's going to be an interesting discussion today. We'll say hello to the chat. Jillian N, how are you? Paul, Harley, and Feckless Finn, who is up supremely late or early in the morning, depending on which side of Australia she is, because you said she's Australian.
Yep.
So I hope we can entertain you guys over on Rumble, on X, on YouTube, or wherever you're watching us, whether you're watching live or on the replay.
And just as an aside, I know all the characters' names, and I apologize to anyone who speaks fluent Korean or any Korean viewers. I am going to butcher the pronunciation of all of the names.
See, this is why we're great friends, because in my notes, the first thing I wrote was, I'm going to butcher these names for a fact.
Yep.
All right. We're very sorry. Sometimes I'm going to mention a character, and I'm going to say it is Kim, the father, Park, the sister, whatever. So please, all you Korean aficionados out there who happen to watch it. Apparently, by the way, all my feelings, this show has on the replays is very not. I wouldn't say very, but it has an audience in the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia. So I hope they enjoy this. I don't know. I know people think that Asia is like a cohesive unit. It is not.
Not
But,
multiple different languages and cultures in there.
And a lot of people don't really like the Koreans out there. So we'll see what's going to happen. If you haven't watched the movie, there's big spoilers right away. So we don't mention this on every podcast, but I kind of feel like not a lot of people have seen it, or the people who have seen it maybe don't remember anything. So we're going to dive deep on everything, and we're going to jump backwards and forwards and talk about a lot of what is going on in the movie, rather than just going scene by scene. But relatively speaking, let's just go into it. There's a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of references to other things, and
could you say, as Kim Woo is so infamous for saying in this film, it's very metaphorical.
It's very metaphorical. And to start us off with, we'll start with our first segment. It is called Behind the Screens.
Sound production, take 2.
Behind the Screens is where we turn to me and we get the lowdown on everything that is behind the scenes, production stuff. There's not a lot, because all the sources of information, 4 different YouTube videos, 5 different articles, they all mention the about 15 things that they have to say about this movie. Unreal. We'll start with this. The core idea for the movie, so the basic premise of the inspiration for Bong, I'm going to call him Bong, because that's his, they say it in Korean, they say the last name first. So Bong Joon Kim, or whatever his name is. Kim is his first name.
So Kim is actually would be the last name. So a lot of the family is Kim.
No. I mean Bong, the director.
The director, yeah.
So Bong is his last name, but
typically they should have that listed that way, unless they actually were what they call the Englandization or romanticization of the name. They would typically always still utilize the last name first.
Yeah. So I'm going to call him Bong, the director. So he worked as a tutor at a very well-to-do family. I don't want to say rich, because it's sketchy on where you look at your resources, but let's say a well-to-do family. And he felt like that it was like snooping on other people. Mm-hmm. And he thought, well, wouldn't it be strange if I can get he was in college at the time, or around that college age. Wouldn't it be funny to have recommend people to come and work for this family, because I know they need a driver or a gardener or a housekeeper or a whatever, and it would be fun. So that's where the idea kind of came from, and it, of course, kind of got distorted. Another key component to the actual story structure is the peach allergy. Bong never knew there is a peach allergy. I have peach allergy as well, which is strange. Not that severe, but until he went on a camping trip with a few of his friends, and one of them who had the allergy got he somebody tossed a peach on his face, and he went into a full blown attack. And it came to a shock to Bong. It's like, really? Peaches? There's two different kinds of peach allergies. One is the actual fuzz, like in the movie, and one is the actual ingestion of the fruit. I have undiagnosed peach allergies, not the fuzz, the eating of the fruit. I actually cannot eat a lot of like apples, strawberries, plums, because they're grown right next to peaches.
Okay.
Weird, isn't it? And it's not the fuzz, because there's peaches with fuzz and peaches with not. Typically, they're called nectarines. So I can't eat any of them, and I have troubles with apples. Really.
Gotcha.
Which is
I
weird.
don't mean to, I'm not downplaying your allergy woes, but I'm just giggling because she keeps saying I can't handle the fuzz, man.
I can't handle the fuzz. No. And Bong himself, he found that the fuzz allergy fascinating, because the peach is sort of regarded as a sensual fruit, especially in Korean culture. So it's supposed to be attributed to more feminine trait, apart from what in the West they think about peaches. I can eat peaches for hours. I found it fun.
We don't. Hey, it's supposed to be kind of a family-friendly show. No, it's not. Why am I lying?
When? The movie itself, at one point, was supposed to be an actual play, so not a movie at all.
Yes, I did know that it was supposed to be written as a 3-act play.
It was the basic structure was a play, and it was supposed to be a play because of how minimal everything is. So there, you basically have two main locations of the movie where things happen, and the driving. There are some driving scenes, but not a lot. So it's sort of minimalist in a way.
That the only one that's really kind of important to the entire story, the narrative, is really the gymnasium scene. That's the only one that doesn't take place inside the Kim's residence or the Park residence.
Yeah, kind of, but in a way, it's very self-contained. And once they got sort of like the go-ahead to do a full-on movie, then they just went all out with like making the sets.
Side note, that house is gorgeous.
The script took a lot of inspiration out of the works of Alfred Hitchcock. In the house itself, there are like references. There are books and like movies of like Alfred Hitchcock.
Yep.
And there are straight off inspirations from the sort of the voyeurism. It comes in later in the movie, where the Kim's son, Ki Juang is the daughter. Ki Woo
is the son.
Yeah. Ki Woo kind of looks into the house and sees the not the Park family, but the other family that took over in there. And the point was to have sort of like a looking from the outside in and not knowing exactly what's going on in the house, sort of like preconceived notions of what's going on in the house.
Well, also in a way too, it's also sort of set up that way where the entire narrative in its own right is based off of basically just Hitchcockian thrillers, especially if you consider Rear Window, which we discussed many moons ago. But this is especially how they invade their lives, but they are still voyeurs in their lives while trying to take advantage of them. Which, on top of that also reminds you of another film, my favorite Hitchcock film.
Yes, Vertigo. Yep. Right. Into the weeds. The Rom-Dom is not really the name of the dish.
Yeah, no, it's
So
not.
there's a point where Mrs. Park, they come back from the camping after the rain kind of spoiled the thing, comes back and she calls and she wants a dish. So she calls it ramdam. It's she doesn't pronounce it ramdam, but in the translation it says ramdam with an extra bit of sirloin on top of it. We're going to talk about that when we get to it. But the name of the dish is, and I will butcher this name, is japanguri or japanguri, which in translation means a mix. So it's a mix between like two different kinds of noodle dishes, which is supposed to be like not only noodle dishes, it's instant noodle dishes. One of them is shrimp, and the other one is something else, chicken broth or something like that. And you're supposed to mix them up together. And it's supposed to be like poor man's food. But because Mrs. Park is so posh, she wants to add in the sirloin. Again, we're going to talk about that.
Well, that also, to be fair, as our really dear friend Min reminds us very early, the wife, well, she's kind of simple.
Yes. Yes. There's a lot going on. The Kim family's apartment, as you see in the movie, and the alley outside, and the gym as well, it's all studio. I thought it was just an alley somewhere. Like, I've seen Squid Games. I've seen those alleys. Apparently, it's a full-on studio that you're able to flood it with water.
Yeah.
Now, the water that they used to flood it wasn't dirty. It was clean water. It looked dirty because they put in some clay in the water. Apparently, it's not just clay, like random clay. It's the clay you use for skincare. And the Kim's daughter, Ki
Ki-jun?
Jung,
Yeah.
the actress said that everybody who acted that day got a good like skin treatment.
It's like, we left feeling exfoliated.
Exactly. That's exactly what she said. The film was shot over 77 days, which is like nothing. And the budget was, in some places it said 11 million. In some places it said 15.5 million. Let's say $15 million. And it made a worldwide $263 million.
Yeah, it was a huge hit.
It was a huge hit.
And especially, it made a lot of that money. I know this specifically because I followed it when it was actually like first actually released in Korea, and my friend was telling me about it. But essentially, it really didn't hit that big peak until it got the Oscar buzz, and then it got a re-release, and then everybody went to go see it.
All right. The one thing that I didn't write in my notes, I just remember it from the stuff that I saw in one of the videos, is the daughter of the founder of Samsung backed this movie, and she made a killer.
Oh yeah.
Also was either the head of the group or one of the heads of the group who invested like about $400 million in DreamWorks, and they got all their money back.
Yeah.
They got all their money back. So the movie itself was edited on Final Cut Pro 7, which was discontinued in 2011. Movie came out 2019, remember. There were no updates since 2014. Just remember, guys, a lot of formats change, like file formats change, and it's very difficult to have a 2019 movie done on like a 8-year-old machine. It's a problem. It didn't stop the editor for getting an Oscar nomination, by the way.
Yeah, which I rightly deserved too.
Hilarious. So the movie won it is the only movie apparently that won the Palme d'Or, the Cannes Film Festival award, and Best Oscar award in the same year. Usually that never happens. Now, it wasn't even nominated for a Golden Globe for the mere reason that the rules specifically say that it has to be 50% in English to be nominated for Best Picture for the Golden Globe. For the Oscars, totally different story.
So the Golden Globes are racist. I see how it is.
Yeah. Although it is the foreign press, which is more diverse. I hate that word. It is more diverse because it has more countries in it, but apparently that's the rule. So
Well, to be fair, as we discussed as well, this is kind of the reason why a lot of films can't be shown in different foreign countries or cannot be made in different foreign countries because they have their own stipulations where a certain part of the cast has to be directly from the country, or it has to be in that native language, or it has to have a certain amount of staff or whatever involved.
you know what why I hate it? Because it limits the artistic freedom of whoever is making this movie.
Yeah, well, and to be fair, South Korea has one of the most stringent quota systems.
I know, but they don't limit the artist on what story that they have to make.
Yeah.
Like the Israeli film industry has quotas for who gets like funding, and usually if you do like a sort of anti-establishment movie, you're probably going to get funding because the people who work at film industries are artists, and most likely they are of the liberal type. Not necessarily, but of the liberal type. So they tend to do stuff that it's close to them. Shocker, I know. But yeah, usually it's very stringent on who gets funding, what, where, how, why. So it is what it is. Small country. Same with Korea. It's generally speaking small country. So that's what I have. That's what I have. All right, cool. Let's share the screen, which I am going to do, and we'll talk about the movie. I'm going to start off with stuff that we kind of started talking about backstage, is the fact that this is the first time I've watched this movie. I like your suggestions on, like, okay, open up to watch this Korean movie. I Saw the Devil that we watched before. Pretty good. I liked it. And I told you, and you asked me, well, do you like this movie? And I said, well, I have a problem. I don't have a problem with the movie. I watched it and I enjoyed it. If you ask me, do you like it? I liked it. Do you love it? I don't love it, and I will probably never watch it ever again in my life, unless it's something special or I need to rewatch it for, I don't know, a podcast we're going to do in the future, or I'm going to do somewhere else.
Okay.
Because this movie is very special, and all the awards that it got is well deserved because it's a well constructed, let's say, well constructed movie. Has a lot of hidden meanings, a lot of inspirations that are like not in your face sort of inspiration, a lot of metaphors, and we got to see a story that talks about something that is very, very Korean, but it's very universal in other ways, and that's sort of like the class system, lower class and higher class. In terms of, we're talking about economical classes, not political classes, but it kind of sometimes it fits. In this one, they don't talk about politics, so it's generally speaking the rich versus the poor, higher class, lower class, and that sort of a people. And the name of the movie, I expected something else because I haven't read anything about the movie. When I see a movie for the very first time, I try not to watch any trailers. I try not to read anything about the movie. I want to watch the movie, and then I'll read anything, watch videos, hidden meanings, Easter eggs, all that stuff, if it actually interests me. This time, it interests me for the fact that I cannot watch this. It's a movie that I cannot watch like 3 times in a week and get all the hidden meanings. You really have to be like watching, going back,
Yeah.
rewatching, thinking about it. And I really didn't have any time to do that. And the thing that I found really interesting is when I did watch, like when you watch 4 different videos about the same thing, you get sort of the same perspective sometimes with a different points of view. And then this time around, I probably got a unanimous point of view from 4 or 5 different people, which is strange.
Yeah, it's
Very
pretty
strange.
rare. Mhm.
And I thought, well, all this stuff that they talked about, and we're probably going to discuss most of them, or if not all of them, is the fact that I did notice them. I had a mental note, but it's sort of like in the back of my mind, and I had to sort of replay the movie in my head to make sure, did I get it right? And I think I got everything right without going in deep into the weeds. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I got the metaphors, I got what they were trying to convey, but it's strictly speaking, it is not the movie I expected it to be. I expected the Parasite to be an actual parasite.
That's what I assumed that you thought, because you know me, I'm such a big horror fan. I'm like, I know Meph is gonna find this as kind of a curveball because I told you that it was a thriller, and it
Yeah,
is.
it is in a
But
way. Yes.
but also I didn't tell you what type, so I can see you thinking that, what is this, kind of like an Aliens thing? Is it kind of like Ring, like that kind of, in that vein, that kind of more I would say that the most one is Bol Meet Se. It's another Korean horror film that is kind of like where someone takes over someone's body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't expect Old Boy.
Yeah.
I didn't expect Old Boy, but I
Well,
expected.
I would have told you flat out like a thriller. I'd be like, if it's like it's a Korean revenge film, and you'd be like, okay.
Yeah, I would have got that. I would have got that. I was like, okay, when is this gonna be? And there was a point where Mrs. Park mentioned a ghost, and we're like, oh baby, okay, okay, you've lulled me for half the movie. It's gonna be like, oh, the ghost thing is gonna be a thing,
No.
which turns out to be the parasite. And then the movie was over, and I was like, okay, I get I get what the parasite is. And it's not the one thing. It's sort of like I would say a 2-way thing, but it's really a 3-way thing. And it's not a thriller at all. I think it's more of a dark comedy. I
It
think
does
it's
have
more
it
of a
does have a
dark-
lot of black humor
As
elements
soon
to
as I
it.
said it,
Yeah.
as soon as I said it, look at this. Netflix has it
It's
listed
listed
as
as
a
a comedy.
comedy.
It is a very, like, there is a lot of bits in it that are very black humor. Which
Yeah, very like I hands down, I would say this is a very elaborate, lots of metaphors, lots of stuff going on, a very dark comedy. It is not ha comedy. It's sort of a oh, oh, oh. So it has twists, turns, and it has some, let's say, lethality in it where people get killed, but there's
yes.
a reason for it.
Mhm.
There's a dark reason for it,
Yeah.
which is interesting. So, did I love it? No. Did I like it? Yes. Very good movie. Very, very
Okay.
good movie.
Okay. That's
Subtly,
all I was looking for, is because I
very
knew that you
subtly
said
good
that you had
movie.
never seen it before, and I said that's a real shame. I'm going to put that on the list for your birthday month, because I think
I'm
I
glad
get
I watched it. Let's
yeah.
just say this. I'm very glad I've watched it. Will I watch it again? Probably not.
That's fair.
Probably not. Expect a very ambiguous review.
No, that's completely fair.
And by the way, if you are following the channel, watching this show, great, thank you. Like, share, subscribe, all that's good stuff. I hate mentioning it, but we're on YouTube. If you are just watching, like, expecting like movie reviews on the channel, and you're like, Mef, where's the movie reviews? There's a reason. I can't really divulge it. Really. There's stuff. Let's just say there's stuff going on in the behind the scenes where it's very difficult for me to share, and it's very difficult for me to actually get stuff out there. Can't really do anything about it. But hopefully you enjoy the show. I don't want to bring everything down because the movie is pretty much down as it is. All right. First thing, as I encountered this movie is, and I found it hilarious, by the way, is the fact that the Kim family
Stealing the Wi-Fi from the neighbor. Yeah.
No, that's not the funny thing. That's like regular for people who don't have like money, is the fact that their toilet is up,
Yeah.
like above with the stairs. But as the movie progresses, it's a symbol thing. It's a symbolism thing. There's stairs in this movie for days. There's stairs everywhere. And there's action going on in every single one of these stairs. And not only one time, like multiple times. And we're going to bring it up while we're doing this. But yeah, I found it funny, again, that they have the toilet up there. It's just hilarious.
Well, and to be fair, that's actually done in a lot of sub-basement apartments in Korea because they're stacked up so deep, and then they had to build them so high. And this film is a very cutting takedown of Korean culture. If you know anything about Korean culture, it's pretty in the face on its face. It's basically just punching Korean culture outright by stating how horribly disproportionate the rich and the disparity is between the rich and the poor.
Okay. Okay.
And also,
I thought you had a little bit more.
Well, we're also going to go on the fact that also a lot when it comes to Korean culture that's a little bit different, that it's not shown here, but it's shown in Kwon-si, who's Chung-suk's husband that's in the bunker down there, how he ended up getting into debt.
Yeah, so I want to say the one thing that I know about Korean culture is that whole class system thing. The fact that the rich are like really rich and the poor are really, really poor. And it's very parallel to Squid Games.
Yes.
I came to this after watching Squid Games, and it was like, oh, this looks familiar. This feels familiar about what I know about Korean culture from movies. And I think I saw The Devil mentions it a little bit, and we kind of discussed it, if I remember correctly. Right?
Yes.
But
and also we did mention it then, and it's more important here, is also the actual just the Korean cultural tradition of essentially making yourself destitute to make yourself seemingly rich or very opulent, like to spend money on useless things to make yourself give yourself a perceived higher societal value, and also to expend a lot of money on your guests to also give them that impression that you can afford to spend this. So you go into debt trying to impress someone else who really doesn't care.
Yeah. And the one thing I found funny is the fact that sort of like people, like the poor people, go day by day and doing remedial work because this is the stuff that I found sort of ridiculous, is the Kim family have a job. The job is to fold pizza boxes for
Well,
money.
no, actually, it was Chung Suk had applied. It's like, hey, dude, hey, make sure to check the WhatsApp messages as soon as they got Wi-Fi, because because Pizza Galaxy was like, maybe this is what we can actually do the boxing. And the reason why they bucked up the boxing was because, hey, the fumigators were out,
Yes.
and they said, well, leave the windows open; it'll get rid of the stink bugs.
Yeah, that's a whole different can of worm, and this is where the first symbolism. And again, people mentioned it. The articles I've read mentioned it. The fact that they've opened up the windows, so the fumigation outside will come in, like get rid of the stink bugs. Like Mr. Kim got kicked one off,
Heck yeah.
right? So they wanted it to come in to fumigate all the parasites, and I was like, it's too on the nose. It's too on the nose. But again, I was expecting the parasite to be something else, not the actual people.
Mm-hmm.
But again, mauling it back, thinking about the movie, kind of like, okay, I see where you were going. The fact that they gave them boxes full of fumigation did not bother anything, and like anybody. It's just the fact that the boxes were poorly folded. That's the stuff that mattered. I was like, a lot of people are going to eat pizzas with fumigation stuff on the cardboard. Nobody mentioned it, but never mind.
And from there, we can automatically see the way that Ki Jung and Ki Woo actually kind of weasel their way in into saying, well, listen, okay, we'll take the discount on the payment, but also, where's your worker at? Where's your part-time worker? Is it what? Did he call in sick again? Don't you think that shows bad? That shows poorly on him. Perhaps you need someone else. Maybe I can come work for you.
Yeah, and that kind of shows the fact that this whole family is sort of hustling, wheeling, dealing, kind of a thing was already happening. Another aspect, sort of Korean culture is the fact that a recommendation for work is better than the paper that says you're qualified to do the job. And it's
on par. Yeah, it is on par. Yeah, that's also very, very true in Japanese culture as well. Yeah.
Okay. It starts with this where Min, I didn't understand. He's just a friend of Ki Woo.
Yeah, they went to high school together.
They went to I didn't understand if they went to high school together or was just the army thing. Because Koreans have a 2-year mandatory military thing.
Service, yes.
I think it only if you're not going to college or is for everybody. I don't remember.
No, I do believe it's actually delayed until you actually finish your degree.
Finish college. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and Ki Woo supposedly has done his military service.
Yeah.
So again, I've read translation, so maybe the translation wasn't correct, or maybe I didn't get it. If they were friends from college, or Min knew Ki Woo from the army, it really didn't matter to the story.
And Ki Woo never actually got into college. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and he gave him a present, and this is the
rock. And it's the first time he says, like, it's so metaphorical.
Yes, and it was like I was like, this is a bit too on the nose, maybe. And they mentioned the fact that the rock has brought like prosperity to the guy who fished it out of the water.
Yeah, it was Min's grandfather, because he said the first time he met Ki Woo, he wanted to give him this.
Yeah, and I thought, whoa, okay, so this rock will change. This is my way of thinking. Okay, maybe the rock is the parasite, and it kind of gives them what they want, which is to be rich, and that kind of foils the entire family. As I was watching, my theories of what's going to happen are developing as things are going on, and I was like, okay, this is not what I thought. Maybe it's a little bit different, but it kept me guessing, and this is what kept me in tune with the movie because I wanted to see what's going to happen next. Which
And
is
also there's a
always
good bit of setup and payoff too. Because before Min is the one who tells the drunk guy, it's like, it's not even dark yet. Did you not put up a non-urinating sign? Like, well, if you put one up, they're just gonna piss more.
I didn't get what the fuck is going on with the guy who pissed. And the only thing I thought of, again, while washing dishes, is maybe, and this is way out there theory, is the guy who was urinating was the guy who were like, it's a symbolism of the flood of water and shit that is gonna flood the entire fucking alley. Or
No,
neighborhood or
it's
whatever.
more just kind of a way to tell the story of Ki-woo's
Yeah,
character growth.
I know on the
Later,
surface it kind of is okay.
Yeah.
You can see
There's no real deeper meaning behind it. No, it's just some
No.
asshole who's just pissing in a back alley
yeah, because
outside of someone's apartment. That's what
it
is.
didn't grow. It didn't grow into anything like interesting or anything. As sort of Min and Kiwoo are talking about. Min is offering Kiwoo a tutoring job in order for Kiwoo to make sure the boys don't like follow his girl.
Some frat guys in the university are just gonna hit on her and everything. It's like,
Yeah.
man, in retrospect, you chose the wrong guy, brother.
And I was like, exactly. And as soon as Kiwoo touches her in her pulse, I was like, oh, he's moving on Min's
Yep.
girl.
It's
Yeah, he's moving on in on her. He's fucked up. Like Min fucked up on who he's gonna get to watch over his girl.
yeah.
So
They have Ki Ji-dung creating that as like, does Oxford have a major and a degree in document forgery? Because Ki Jung would be top of her class.
yeah, the thing is, the what I saw is the lettering in Korean says Seoul University. The English one says Oxford. That's on purpose. That's on purpose.
Wait, are you talking about the document or are you talking about what he says?
The document says Seoul University.
Oh, no. That was Ki Tae. The father says that. No, it actually says Yonseo University on the letterhead. Doesn't say Oxford. The Oxford bit was the father making a joke
Okay.
about how good the forgery was.
Then one article says it wrong.
Yeah, that article's wrong. Yeah.
So we'll jump ahead. So Kiwoo goes to the house. He has a talk with Mrs. Park, and Mrs. Park has to be waking up. She's like,
Young Q is like, madam.
She to me was the ultimate wine mom. If we go back into the past and we look at a movie called forgot the name. A movie that you picked last year, Rules of Attraction.
Yes, yeah.
The Rules of Attraction are like, oh, that's Mrs. Park.
Just get her another vodka Collins.
Well, you can see all the bottles of soju right there. It's not soju, but
well, all the bottles of wine and then all the whiskey that all the Kims end up drinking later. Like, such assortment of alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. So she gets him to do the tutoring. And
and also, as you mentioned before, sorry to interject there. She actually even says when he goes to hand her the fake degree, she tosses back like, I don't need to see that.
I don't need to see it. And this is why I said the sort of like the recommendation thing is much more has a lot more sway on what you decide to do. So the paper really doesn't mean anything if you have that recommendation, and it goes so far as to be sort of like the domino that puts the entire family, the entire Kim family, into the Park family. Right. So we're going to do a sort of a stop and we'll play our first game of the night. It is called Missing Marquee. Missing Marquee is where we take 10 posters, have their text written off. We display them in the chat, and All My Feelings will have to guess which movie this is. You can already see the first movie, but I don't care. Go right ahead.
Oh, I never remember this name of this movie. I know the little boy. He's actually a robot in the end. I don't remember the name of it.
It is a Steven Spielberg movie.
I remember it being awful.
It is awful. Stars the guy who sees dead people.
Yes.
I forgot his name again. And
See?
Jude Law.
Paul. AI. There you go.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. AI, artificial intelligence. I have to punch in a little bit so you can see the people.
Oh, is this Escape Plan?
It is a escape plan,
A
correct?
fun movie.
Fun movie. The second one, no bueno.
Did not see the second one.
Don't bother. It's a cash grab.
I haven't the foggiest. Is it
Concentrate on the sword.
Excalibur?
Excalibur is correct.
That'll work. Is that Why Did I Get Married?
No.
2?
No. After this movie, it was so prophetic. Chris Rock got divorced.
Yeah, that's why I thought I was like, Why Did I Get Married?
No.
No. The Other Woman? I have no idea.
Chat. I'll ask the chat. Is very obscure, but I found this and I was like, oh,
It's very obscure. Yeah.
this has no, lettering on top of it. I'm gonna grab it. Ooh, I see nobody knows. This is, I Think I Love My Wife.
So it's fair. Kind of the same, really.
And you got divorced. Never mind.
It's just Mallrats?
It is Mallrats, correct.
Oh, God. I always forget the name of this movie.
She got an Oscar for it.
Yes, and I
believe.
know exactly the whole story, too.
I don't think I actually seen the movie.
It's decent.
I always thought it was like
Yeah,
like an
Sirloin's
Oscar
Playbook.
bait. Here we go. Silver.
It was really Oscar bait. Yeah.
This is a terrible movie. I have to say that I've seen it. Oh shit! No.
Well, that's The Abyss.
Yeah. I thank you. I have seen it. I haven't the slightest idea what's it about. I
Okay.
don't remember.
Now, was this the one where Melissa McCarthy steals the identity of Jason Bateman?
Yes.
It's Identity Thief?
No. Oh, by the way, it might not be. I just don't remember. I don't remember the plot. I don't remember who's in it. It's not the one where she's a disgusting cop with Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock. No, I think this is the one where she ends up stealing.
I think she
Bateman's
steals Jason Bateman. She steals identities from people.
Yeah.
No, this is Tammy.
Tammy. Yeah, well.
No, this is The Abyss, of course. A remake. Ooh, I got you stomped.
Wait, is this the
That's Nathan Lane. That
Yeah,
is
I know. It's
Broderick.
Nathan Lane, Matthew Broderick, and Uma Thurman. I know that. The producers, yeah, because this is the one with Will Ferrell as the Nazi.
As
Yeah.
the Nazi. Correct. Is it Franz something? Can't remember the name. This is a later Jim Carrey movie. The poster does not say anything about the movie. There's a different poster where he's riding a scooter with Zooey Deschanel.
Yes,
She's-
man.
Yes Man is correct.
All you had to tell me was the other poster, and I'm like, yeah, I remember that one.
I know. You know what's crazy? I found the poster with the scooter and Zoe Deschanel, and it doesn't have a lot of lettering, but it gives it away immediately. You know what it is. But
Yeah. See, the thing is too is if you were to cut that down and just show the back of like just so like Zoe Deschanel,
it would have been like this big.
it would have been like that. But you're like, wait, is that 500 Days of Summer, or is it
No.
or is it any other movie Zoe Deschanel was in besides obviously Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Yeah. I want to go with, you know what? Let's.
Oh, and also thank you, Paul. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Paul. Well, as always, Paul, our illustrious mod, he's here for a reason. First of all, I guess he's entertained, but yeah. I hope you're entertained, Paul.
We haven't scared him off yet, so.
Exactly. All right. Next on the agenda. So Kiwoo is in, and what he does, he slowly starts working in the family. And not only that, the stuff that we don't get to see is the fact that it's a whole plan that they've set up to infiltrate this family and be a parasite on this whole family. And once that kind of started to unravel, this is where I thought, okay, maybe it's not the stone. Maybe it's not like this, like paranormal thing, or not a sci-fi thing, but it's sort of a something extra that is not like reality based. I was like, okay, I get where they're going. They're kind of latching onto this family, so the Kim family are the parasites. So first of all, they get the daughter in Ki Jong,
which she plays this beautifully.
I loved her in this entire movie.
She's so great.
Best character in it. She is deadly. She is so playing it so straight, and she's the one where I saw no remorse in her actions.
No. Even when she gets stabbed at the end, all she is like, oh shit.
She has zero feelings towards anybody. She is so psychotic, and it's scary to watch.
I wouldn't say psychotic. I think she has a lot of sociopathy.
Yeah, sociopathy.
Yeah. But also just the way that she sets up that entire thing with Da Song and telling the story about like I can tell that he has faced some trauma before, and Young-kyo, the wine mom is just how did you know? And at the end, she just says to her brother Kiwoo, like, oh well, actually no, I read some articles online and I just made it up.
Yeah, this thing it's you see. He has that black corner in every single one of these paintings, and she's like,
in the box there. Can I help you? And together we will open that box.
Yes. And I was like, oh my God, this is so Psych 101 bullshit.
I know. It's just like she just plays it off so perfectly. And then from there, I thought that you would kind of get the reason why I liked it, because from here until about near the middle of the beginning of the third act, it's essentially just kind of a heist movie with the way that it's all set, all these setup and payoffs.
Yeah. It's sort of like when she finishes the whole thing and she drives back home, and the one thing, she takes her panties off in the car. So I was like, okay, so she's trying to get the driver off. Oh, I see where this is going. And literally,
not in that way, chat.
Yeah, we know. She gets the panties off. She hides it in the car for the dad to find, so he will have an excuse to fire the driver in order to get Mr. Kim as the driver. Because I saw where this is going. I just didn't see sort of like the nitty gritty of it all. Because I thought, well, maybe she's going to try to set up the mom, but the mom wasn't even, they didn't show the mom driving in that car. So, and I love the fact that Mr. Kim and Ki Woo are going to
They go to the dealership to check out cars. Like, this is actually a very nice car. Yes.
Yeah.
'Cause they're trying to figure out how the car actually operates. So he seems like a professional. It's wow, I love it.
And this is all towards the fact that when Mr. Kim actually gets, again, the recommendation didn't come from Ki Woo, it actually came from Ki Jeong, the daughter. It's like, oh, he's like my father's uncle's friend or whatever. He's definitely not my dad. He's a good driver, has been driving for years, but economic downturn or whatever she said is an excuse. I don't even remember. And
like he's actually in between jobs right now, but I know he's very high in demand. The same thing happens later with the house cleaner as well. Yeah. It's great.
I love the fact that they work on, so they infiltrate, all three of them, and now they have to put in the mother. So housekeeper is like the likely thing, but the current housekeeper, and we understand why, she's like, oh, there's no way to trip her. There's no way to get her going. And then they find out about her allergy, and because they do reconnaissance, and then what they do is they know where to work, and how to work is through Mrs. Park.
Yeah, because again, she's so simple. And what's great too is before this, the entire line about the setup of how Moon Gwang, who is the now former house sitter, how she had actually been there since it was actually built. That's why, that's why Gwon-se, her husband, is down in the bunker that we find out later. It's like, oh, that's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all setups and payoffs.
All setups and payoffs. And this is why you wanted me to watch this, because you knew what was going on, and you knew how I liked the way Bong, the director and the writer, constructed this whole thing sort of like in layers, and you get to reveal the story, or reveal the underbelly of the underbelly of the underbelly bit by bit. So it's not spoon feeding you, because at first you think about something, because again, coming into the movie, I don't know what the parasite is, and you sort of unravel everything. And when the kind of family takes over everything, and I love the fact that they shave off the peach fuzz and they fling it at her so she can, cough and everything.
That as an aside too, they find out that information because Ki Woo is talking to Dahe, the daughter, and she's like, oh, well, I actually prefer peaches, but we can't have them around here.
Yeah.
And that's where they get that's how we can get rid of her.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the fact that Mr. Kim is driving Mrs. Park, and it was like, yeah, I've went to do a checkup for regular checkup, and I took a selfie of mine for my wife, and come to see her, and she's yelling and screaming about TB. It's like, oh my God, TB. And when they get into the house, the daughter threw the fucking peach fuzz at her, so she'll cough as soon as Mrs. Park comes in. It's just a beautiful.
Well, the setup with the hot sauce as well, to put the hot sauce on the napkin that she was coughing into, and it's fantastic.
It's just fantastic. And as soon as everything is set up, they replace one like a series of workers with an entire family, and now this family has completely taken over this other rich family. Now, at first, you were like, okay, they're setting up some stuff, and I want to see where it comes in, how it plays out, because something needs to happen. And then you have, before the camping trip, you have that the story about the kid with the birthday cake, because they're going on
that's all.
camping, right? But the sort of before they have that birthday and before they go to camping, she tells that story about the kid and why at 6 years old he had a birthday party. He came in, he ate the cake, and he saw a ghost, and he went into convulsions and went into like a seizure type thing. And it was very scary, of course. And that's probably why he has these, stuff that is happening to him.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit for that too. One bit that I found absolutely hilarious was Yong-kyu boiling everything in the kitchen,
Okay.
napkins and everything, because she thinks it's the TV's on it.
Yeah. I want to move. Yeah. So the thing about the camping, and this is like,
There's one thing too. When Dasong runs by
Dasong is the young kid.
yes, but runs by Chung Suk, who is the new housemaid, right?
Yes.
He smells
Oh, yes.
because he nearly kills him. They're like, it smells like Mr. Kim, the driver.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, they're gonna find out about that, and then they have that little discussion with the family. Oh, it sucks that we have to wash we have to buy 4 different kinds of detergent or 4 different kinds of fabric softener in order for us to smell differently because we're not supposed to be a family, which was ingenious in a way.
And the smell thing, oh boy, that's a huge insult, and that's the reason why Kitaek snaps at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Now, so there's the camping thing. Apparently, and this is again the piece of information I got from a cooking show that is like concentrated in like Korean cooking. He said that every it's a spring tradition or summer tradition to go out for a few days and have a camping thing, right? It's a thing. It's not regular camping. It's full on what in the West we call glamping.
Yeah.
So it's like high end tents,
full Wi-Fi and everything, and that's why Dahae. I'm like, why is Dahae freaking out? She's gonna have like full Wi-Fi and everything. She's basically just going like to a different apartment for the weekend.
So a fire pit is full on constructed fire pit, so you can have the Korean barbecue. It's set up, it's built, it's in stone, right? It's all made out. I saw that on a cooking show. And as soon as they said camping, I knew exactly what they're going to, what kind of camping, because this is a rich family, and they're not packing.
They're not roughing it. No,
they're not packing tents. They're packing like food, like coolers and stuff, which means they're taking like high end meat and that sort of thing that needs cooling, rather than a full on tent. Because when they get to the camping site, it's already set up for them for a like I said, glamping. So when they come back, and I knew they were going to come back, because as soon as they leave, the Kim family have
the Kim family party,
full on Parasite move. And this is like, as soon as I saw this, I knew for a full on fact that the Park family are going to come back. I didn't know if they're going to catch them or not.
Yeah. See, now you get the thriller bit. That's where this is coming in.
Yeah. And by the way, that table, that's a custom table.
Oh,
apparently it cost $2,500, which seems cheap, but it's a lot of money towards one piece of
piece in one set.
One piece in one set. But it's very crucial because they built it in order for 3 people
to hide. Yeah.
to comfortably hide underneath. That was the specifications, and it's supposed to be like you see this scene where they sit and eat. That's a normal way of sitting and eating for Korean culture. Easy enough. We understand it. It's very similar to the Japanese culture, but different. But the whole point of having people underneath is the important bit, and that's why it's built the way it's built.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting.
What's important about this is that Ki-woo, this is probably the third time he's actually shown a little bit of remorse about what he's doing. Because the first time is when he has the falsified degree, because he says flat out, no, I'm going to university next year. I just printed it out early. So like, I'm going to get my degree. I just haven't gotten it yet.
And that's a theme that is within the movie about, and it comes to fruition again closer to the end, is the fact that plans are always messed up.
Yes,
So-
and there's a line later about what Kita says. But
it comes later with Mr. Kim, but the fact that it's like sort of like the dichotomy between not making any plans and having it sort of like hustle your way into things, or making a plan and then having it crumble beneath your fingers, right?
Yeah.
And that dichotomy was very interesting to me because it's something that I had to stop and think about after I saw the movie, not when I was watching the movie, because I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yep.
It just didn't drop in the way I thought it would.
Yep.
Every single time. And it mirrored what happens in the movie where you're planning on something, you kind of looks like it's going to execute well, and then something happened and you have to scramble and sort of change and adapt to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out the plans that you've made are either terrible or stuff doesn't work the way that you think it does.
Well,
Which
I'll just spoil the line. What Kita says later. Do you know what plan never fails?
Not having a plan.
No plan at all.
Yeah.
But so we have, back to the point about Ki-woo, when he's actually reading the diary, and Ki-jung, that's the only time that she kind of steps up and goes, okay, you crossed the line.
Yeah.
But Ki-woo even says, well, he even says the same bit that Min said before he left. Well, once she gets to university, then I will ask her out properly.
Yeah. So, again, I was waiting for sort of the monkey wrench to spoil their thing. I was waiting for the Park family to come back.
Yes,
But
to be
lo
fair,
and behold-
I was on the same page because the first time I saw this, when the doorbell rang,
Mhm.
I thought it was the Parks returning home already.
Yeah, but the Parks wouldn't ring the doorbell. They would have just walked.
Well,
in.
you didn't know at the time. You didn't know it was the doorbell ringing. You just heard a ringing sound. So it could have been the garage door opening, like notifying
yeah.
someone's home or something. So that's what I thought. I'm like, oh, they're fucked.
Yeah, exactly. And this is still they're fucked. But it's the old housekeeper coming in, the one with supposedly TB. And I didn't recognize her at first because of the glasses and all that stuff. And again, I'm reading subtitles, right?
Yeah.
I didn't caught on like in the first moment. And as soon as she said, well, I cut off the cameras outside, which is suspicious, but don't worry, it's me. Just I've been there so long. If you look above the intercom thing, there would be a picture of three dogs, three family dogs. So you know it's me.
And one of them is Fufu.
Yeah. Fufu? No.
Well, the thing is, too, is if you notice, one subtext line that wasn't actually like subplot that wasn't actually really ever developed was how she got, well, you don't want to know how I got these scars. No, how she got the bruises on her face.
Yeah, it's never explained. Now,
You just have to assume it's actually Gwon-si's debt collectors that are coming after her because they can't find her husband.
now, what I've read is the fact that there is a TV show called Parasite. I know there is one. I just didn't know they were connected. Supposedly the TV show is supposed to give you stories
Yes.
around this main story.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Now, is there a story? Because I haven't seen it. Chat, if you know, just put it in the chat or put it in the comments if you're watching this on replay. Is there a story with her and we get to know where the bruises are coming from?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. It's interesting. It's interesting to have sort of a TV show that is around what's going on, but it still deals with sort of that class system kind of a thing.
What's the most important thing is the fact that also, even though she says that, she could have easily that was Chung-suk, the Kim mother, could have easily just said, "No, I don't believe you. Go away, or I'm calling the cops."
Yeah, which is
Because you were already fired from this, and you just admitted to cutting the camera feed.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, and I was like, that's very weird for this old housekeeper to cut the feed in order for her like not to be detected. What is going on? As soon as it's like she strolls in and she's like casually talking to them. Yeah, I know you've done it to me. Blah 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 blah. It's
so,
okay.
well,
I'm
she
I'm
even says
okay
her
with it.
name. It's like, how do you know my actual name? Because she knows
Yeah.
her name is Jung-suk, which is like, yeah, they didn't know that. But when she first goes down there, she's like, "Well, come on, follow me, go see." And you have Ki Woo on the stairs going, "Go,
Yeah.
follow her."
And she goes downstairs and suddenly there's a full-on bunker. And I was like, oh baby, this is gonna be fucking good. As we found out her husband is down there.
Yep,
And he's been down there for years, ever since the house was built by the architect, right?
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Why? And then they go into the whole story of he has the debt, he's all that stuff that you mentioned. And I've found that there's a whole different dimension to this Parasite thing. And the ghost thing that I was going on, sort of the ghost, right? I was like, I didn't expect him to be the ghost.
Yeah. Also, the ghost bit. Yeah, as a 6-year-old kid, I'd be fucking terrified too.
And when they do show that flashback, right? And sort of like you have that mental note of, oh, that's why he said a ghost, because the guy's got fucking bug eyes, right? As he walked through to probably steal some food, as the kid sees this face with bug eyes, I was like, I would be shitting myself.
Yeah.
Maybe not convulsing in like seizure, but I would be fucking terrified. But we have this sort of thing, and the Kim, the wife, the name escapes me. Sorry. Has this?
Oh, it says
image as-
Moongwang.
No, I mean the Kim, the never mind.
Oh, Chung-suk is the Kim's the Kim
Chung-suk.
mother. Yes.
Okay. She's like, she realizes something that the other family members did not. This is a problem. We have a major, major problem. Now, the former housekeeper is like, I don't really care what you're doing here. I don't mind your I don't mind your business, right, with the Park family.
Yeah, she's like, well, and she says, like, please take pity on us because we're poor and we're destitute just like you. So just because she doesn't know yet that they're the entire family together, but she knows about Chung-suk.
Yeah.
And it's actually part of one of the stories that's actually done in the TV show, because remember how Chung-suk had that medal?
Yes.
And how late, like during that party, like she randomly throws a shot put, and you clearly hear glass break, but you have no idea where it is. It's somewhere off screen.
Yeah.
That's how she knows who she is.
Oh, from when they were outside and she tossed the hammer?
No, because she saw footage of her when she was competing, and she recognized her face.
Oh, okay. So at some point you were like, "Oh, so I don't care about your thing." But then as soon as the entire family kind of rolls down the stairs,
And if Kiwoo just wouldn't have said, "Ow, Dad, watch out," and even Ki-tae goes, "Don't call me Dad, idiot."
yeah, as soon as kind of the cat is out of the bag, she flips on them like a fucking on a dime. It's like,
Yep.
I got you recorded. I've got the nuke button all ready to
I've
go.
got you dead to rights.
gotta-
And go see it, even making that joke going, it's so funny. You've got the nuclear option.
Yeah, and I like that because everybody's thinking it. He just said it.
Says it.
Like, oh, it's like having the nuclear button. You just press it and boom. And they even have that little moment where she just massages his back while
Yeah, and she's faking North Korean broadcasts, and Gwon even says no one does North Korean reporting like you.
yeah. And I found it endearing because this is a very, very, very North Korean, South Korean kind of a joke or inside joke. And when I said this is the moment where I thought I got duped. This is not a thriller. This is a dark comedy. That's the moment for me. That's the moment of realization where this is a fucked up comedy.
Yeah.
This is so fucking bizarre. And I'm in. I was like, okay, I'm in. I get it. I know where they're going for. I don't know where they're going to, but I know where this is heading. This is going to come to a head. Somebody's going to get killed. I just don't know when. But this is far beyond. This is like, I'm feelings. You know me, right?
Yeah.
We've done this show for a long time. It's weird how every single movie pick that we make at the time doesn't seem like something, but it's a setup to a very nice payoff. You know what the setup and payoff for this moment is? Is the movie we covered a long time ago with Jon Favreau.
Very bad things.
Very Bad Things.
Yeah.
A dark comedy, and this is, and you were like, what the fuck does this have to do?
Nope.
with the other?
I get that, and you know what else I also get? In Bruges.
Correct. And I'll tell you why. It's the fact that at this particular moment where the old housekeeper has the Kim family dead to rights with a nuke option on her phone, and
Yep.
she is literally doing a North Korean, South Korean joke right in front of the Kim family, literally torturing them with the knowledge that at any point the rug would be pulled underneath them. This is where I thought about someone is going to get fucking murdered. I don't know who. Someone's going to get murdered, and it's going to be a chase between who's going to be found out first by the Park family, which evidently kind of never really happened.
Well,
But
it
it
does happen, but they're at the very, very, very end.
Yeah, but to me, as soon as the Kim family kind of like, okay, the Parks are coming back. They know they're coming back, and they having to deal with this former housekeeper, and they roll her down the stairs, and she literally gets,
No,
knocked over
she's
the head.
actually going up the stairs, and in the most fucking badass moment in the whole movie, Chozo literally just walks up and just fucking just front kicks her down the stairs. She rolls back and hits her head.
Yep. And to me, this is where I was thinking about very bad things, where it goes from
Oh, 0 to 100 to like that. Yeah.
bad to what the fuck are you doing?
Well, that and
Right?
also you have Christian Slater's character in that the entire time going, "Well, I'm sorry, I had to kill her. She's
Yeah.
gonna say something." Or
Yeah.
no, I had to kill him, and then I had to kill her.
And and this is where Mr. Kim is like, I'm gonna like tie you up because you're fucking insane, and I don't know what to do with
see,
this housekeeper, but
well, that's what.
she's probably dead.
Yeah, because he just thinks, well, when she hit her head, he sees the blood and goes, "Oh, thank God," because he just thinks that she's dead.
Yeah. He has this sort of like realization, we're fucked, but it's sort of like we're fucked, but it's manageable because we're a full family and we can have sort of like a full court press here. I'm gonna deal with the couple of idiots that almost like uncovered us. The two kids are like fixing up the house, and the mom is because she has to make the rom dom for Mrs.
Because she
Park.
was actually supposed to be there, so it makes sense that she's having
Yeah.
a conversation with Mrs. Park, and
Yeah.
it's
It's that whole ordeal of we have to clean everything up, we have to make sure they don't see us, and we have to leave. But they have to deal with this too many things, and they end up having to stay in while the Park family comes into the house.
Yeah.
And this is where Mrs. Park has her dinner, and she tells about Da Sang.
the song, the sun,
song.
yeah.
The song, his whole story, and we see that flashback, and we have that realization of, oh, now that we know the guy's there, he's the ghost. That's that flashback I talked about before. Maybe I can get to that.
Well, and then we have that
Oh.
that conversation. Oh, could you
Yeah,
give me the actual scene?
The lights, the whole thing with the lights.
Oh, the Morse code, because the entire time, Gonze has been actually saying, like he's been giving Morse code to Dasong, and
Yeah.
also he's been saying thank you to Mr. Park the entire time.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you've been down there well, he has been down there for years, so social isolation has just completely fucking rotted his mind.
Oh, yeah. And the fact that Mr. Park did not even notice the lights turning on and off while he was walking in the house.
Well, the thing is, too, the way that it was set up, he could actually tell. So he was turning the lights on as they went on. He was probably thinking, oh, this was a fixture that was put into the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this guy down below is so oblivious to what Mr. Park is actually thinking about.
Yeah.
He is so oblivious of what
Which is apparent at the end, because when Gelse actually sees him, like, oh, thank you, Mr. Park, when he's dying, he's like,
Yeah.
he's like, what the fuck are you?
I love this shot. This shot was I had it for a moment. The condoms.
Yeah. Why? Huh?
Yeah, this is the one where it was like, this guy is completely off his fucking mind. Because, yeah, this one. He's like, he's got 2 unopened condoms and a whole bunch of used ones, which means the housekeeper and him, while the family was away, they were out fucking.
Well, that, and also, or maybe he wants to enjoy it for longer, like our friend in remember I Love You Man. He's like, yeah, I know it's weird, I use condoms when I do it, I just like to make it last longer, because right next to it is a tub of Vaseline. All I'm saying, it's real fucking weird.
It's yeah, it's a whole bunch of whatever. Again, his bookshelves have the Korean version of like Hitchcock books, which is a small little Easter egg. And if you don't know Korean, you don't even notice it's there, which is great to be absolutely fair. And of course, the Park family come back from camping, and the song actually decides to take a teepee because he has this whole Indian motif,
Yeah.
right? From the start of the movie. He goes out and sleeps out in the backyard as the two parents don't actually fuck, but they masturbate each other.
Yeah,
They even
it's just
say-
like, are you guys 13? Why you guys are fucking just doing hand stuff?
Because they don't want him to be like get caught. I was like, I and the fact that the like 3/4 of the Kim family is right there,
There.
right?
Well, that I think it's more just to show the most importantly is Dong-ik, the Mr. Park, his entire spiel about the smell
Yeah,
of Mr. Kim again because he can smell him,
yeah.
and it's like that's very insulting in Korean culture. You don't know.
So it's Korean culture and Japanese culture too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's something that they have in common. But as soon as they kind of fall asleep, the Kim family is like, we need to get the hell
Well, there
out."
was that little moment where Dahe is actually was where Ki-woo was actually underneath Dahe's bed, and they're like, was he gonna get caught? Because that little dog, who by the way, Fufu is adorable. I don't care what you say. That dog is cute as hell. Cute as a fucking button. Just look at him like, hey, what's up, new friend?
Yeah. it was always it was at that point where I thought it's a thriller, and then it stopped. Like
Yeah.
literally,
Well, then
as
when they get
soon as
underneath
they
there,
leave,
when Dahe's
I
actually
kind of
texting
got
him,
over it.
and he's scrambling to try to like put his phone on silent.
Yeah. Uh, sort of like at this particular moment, I was like, okay, this is it's a catch me if you can kind of a moment
Thriller
thing,
moment, yeah.
where to me it's a bit odd. It's there for a reason because they were trying to like fix up the house because they literally took over the house and they got caught in the middle while dealing with this old housekeeper and unraveling this entire secret that is beneath the house, and then having to scramble. And of course, as soon as they leave, they have to deal with the whole fact that their entire neighborhood is flooded with sewage water, and them and the entire neighborhood have to sleep in this gym. And there's a moment where Mr. Kim, there, I got it. He's saving the medal, the silver medal. Now, this is something that I saw, didn't even think about, didn't even thought about. But as soon as when you diving deep into like the hidden mysteries, the thing that you've missed, the Easter eggs, the fact that she didn't win gold, she won silver. What's silver? It's second place. So it's again the whole class system. It's not first place. It's always second. It's always beneath. It's always the lower thing. And I really didn't even think about it. But it's a very interesting notion that one of the videos that mentioned it was like, have you ever thought about what's the silver medal for? Yeah, it's second place. It's second class citizens. It's like, it makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
But you don't think about it because they set her up as a former athlete with a medal. A silver medal ain't that bad. Not a lot of people get silver medal.
Yeah. Well, also this is juxtaposed with we have Moon Gwang kind of coming to and just having that just massive concussion, and she's slowly dying because you have to remember they rubbed all the peaches all over her face.
Yep.
Too. That like again, we mentioned Ki Jung. Her sociopathy was near psychopathy there, where she ran into the kitchen and was like, I know this bitch is allergic to these, and grabbed the entire thing and just started mashing them in her face. Yeah. But she's kind of like halfway freeze, won't say, who just starts bashing his head.
Yeah, I need to get to that.
Against the lights while Moon Gwang essentially like she throws up and then she passes out and dies.
Yeah. And he slams his head all over this to get basically Da Sung
Yeah,
to notice what's
because he's doing it in Morse code.
Yeah. To make sure he knows what's going on, to sort of alert the kid. Because he said before that the kid is his scout out there without I don't think he says without knowing. He says he's my scout.
Yeah. Because they mentioned the whole thing about Cub Scouts.
I found it interesting because you don't really tell, you can't really tell why is he the scout? So he knows he's the scout or not? Does he know Morse code or not?
Well, no, the fact that Da Song and Moon Gwang were very close, that even after Moon Gwang was fired, she was still having text conversations with Da Song.
Yeah.
Because she even mentioned the fact that, like, oh, well, no, he tells me things. So that's why she knew Chung Suk's name. And that's also why Moon Gwang, when she's dying, she tells Gwon Se, remember the name Chung Suk. And that's why he keeps calling her out at the party.
And the thing that you have to remember is the fact that the Park daughter, the one that gets tutored, Dahe, she's the one who tells Ki Woo that the song is faking it.
There's a whole bit, yeah.
It's a full-on fake. He is not hyperactive. He's not like he does. She says that the fact that he goes out and for 15 minutes he just looks at the clouds as if he's like wandering somewhere. He does that on purpose to make his parents think that he's out there, right? ADHD or whatever, right?
Well, he's probably doing it a lot for his attention because his father is so busy, and like you see all the accolades that his father has received by traveling internationally for business, and the fact that he is we didn't really talk much about the dichotomy in the relationship between Yongkyu and Dong-ik, the Park, the mother and father.
Yeah.
The fact that the mother is clearly not happy because she's medicating herself on a daily basis. The father says flat out, well, yeah, I love my wife.
Yeah.
Hey, just like that Chris Rock movie. I think I love my wife.
And you know what's crazy? They're rich, right? But when she first pays Ki Woo, she kind of
takes that little skim off.
Yeah, I'm gonna pay you extra, but she doesn't really pay him extra. She takes the skim off the top. I was like, that's strange. That's really, really strange. As if it's their money, but it's actually Mr. Park's money, and she's kind of living off him in a way. And it's not really, so she doesn't really have money of her own. And you don't really get to see her shopping until it's like, oh, we're going to do an impromptu birthday because we just got back from not camping, right?
Yes.
So
this is after the Kims are staying in the gymnasium, and there is that juxtaposition between, obviously, you have Youngkyu and her giant, huge, like it's nearly the size of most Manhattan apartments size closets and everything, and then you have the Kims standing with a whole bunch of other very destitute people whose homes just got flooded, going over a pile of clothes trying to find something to wear.
Yeah, and it's strange because when Mr. Kim, I said Mr. Kim because anyway, Mr. Kim first drives Mr. Park. He's dressed nicely, but when I have this shot roll ready to go, when he drives her after the house was flooded, he's wearing like very simple clothing that he got from that pile of clothing.
Oh, well, actually, no. They said that it's fine. You can wear sweatpants if you want to.
Yeah.
Which that's a Korean sort of like dig where it's like, well, there's no real dress attire, but you really should. But we're not going to say that.
Yeah. Okay. So I found it strange because Mr. Kim, when he drives her and has to listen to her bullshit kind of wine mom, toddlery that she talks to her fake friends, he has the same face when he was laying down in that gym. He has that sort of same kind of look. And I was like, oh, he is
It is
pissed.
like the rage is building, and the fact that also like she gets that sniff where like she's thinking of what her husband told her the previous night, and she rolls down the window and she's like, "Oh, you bitch." Oh.
I don't remember where it's mentioned when they discussed their former driver. It's not the fact that he had sex in the car. It's the fact that he had sex in the back seat of the car. Which, when I saw that, I was like, that is very, very uppity kind of
Yeah. Well,
class.
because that's where I sit.
Yeah, that's where the owner, sit, not the driver. I don't care what you do out there, like in front. This is my domain out back. It's like, oh.
Oh, and you can tell Wine Mom Wong Q has a little bit of a kink for that. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
During little diddle scene, she literally says out loud, "Buy me drugs."
Yeah. Right. We're gonna do a pause and we'll play our second game of the night. It is called Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
Screen Fighter is where we take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good, both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria, which is a Sunday evening, Friday evening, up with the boys, up with the girls, out with your significant other, two movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? Aha! 22 Jump Street or Casino Royale?
Had this been 21 Jump Street, it would be an easy answer.
Okay.
This is the sequel.
Yes.
It's not as good. The only good thing about that is there's one character who keeps telling one of the main characters, like, "How old are you? Are you really in college? Are you somebody's dad?"
You know what's crazy? This is a 10-year-old movie. It came out like June 21st or June 20th.
Yeah.
It's a literal, just had its 10-year anniversary. This movie could have come out today and it would look the same, feel the same, have the same kind of comedy.
Yeah.
Bad comedy, but same.
Just as an aside, though, I think Casino Royale is actually one of the only Bond films that I do like. It's actually the only Daniel Craig one that I actually do like. Also because it has one of the best villains, because Matt Mikkelsen is just fucking awesome. And also, that's an amazing poster. I would actually definitely rewatch Casino Royale.
Same. I don't like Daniel Craig as Bond. I thought the movie was good. If they were just gonna call him something else,
If it wasn't actually revolved around Bond,
yes,
yeah.
It would have been a great movie.
Yeah.
All right, Deliverance or Enchanted. Easy pick.
Even
Even
though technically, the happier film is the one on the left.
Yeah. Lady and the Tramp or The Weatherman?
Okay. I do believe The Weatherman is one of Nicolas Cage's most underrated performances.
I agree.
I think that movie is fantastic. Lady and the Tramp is probably one of the best of that era of Disney.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would watch The Weatherman.
I know, I would too. I'm just giving Lady the Tramp its kudos, but yeah, it's definitely The Weatherman.
Yeah. What Dreams May Come or The Cider House Rules?
So, how do you want to be depressed today?
Yeah, they're both really depressing movie. One of them is starring Robin Williams, not the best.
No, I think it's one of his worst performances. I think that movie is fucking awful.
However, Cider House Rules is very, very boring.
Yes. Paul's like, hard pass.
Yeah, that's I think hard pass is a
Hey, just put haven't seen either. We'll do it then. Reshuffle on this one.
no. I would gladly pick what dreams may come than Cider. I would rather be depressed than bored at this point.
That's fair. Okay, whatever.
Trainspotting or
Oh, come
Guardians of
on.
the Galaxy Volume 2.
While I do love that poster and how reminiscent of is clearly the Star Wars inspiration, of course, it's
Yeah.
train spotting. It's fucking train spotting.
Every day of the week, even though baby scene.
Even though I don't like Spaceballs, come on, this is Spaceballs.
Okay, 12 Years of Slave or Spaceballs. For sure, Spaceballs?
Yes. Even though 12 Years a Slave is a great movie, but it's also one of those films you watched once ago. I don't need to see that again.
And it's so strange. Again, this is a random website. Spaceballs Part 2, The Search for More Money, is in development as we speak.
I'm not surprised.
Probably.
I said, hey,
not have that
Hollywood
title.
is scraping the bottom of the fucking barrel now. They've ran out.
The problem is the writer who's writing this is not Mel Brooks. He's just a producer, but in name, half the cast is dead. Like Dom DeLuise dead, even though Pizza the Hut is dead, but Dom DeLuise is dead. Fucking
John Candy.
John Candy dead. Bill Pullman is still alive. Joan Rivers is dead. Colonel Sanders is dead.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? Plus, you won't have George Lucas's blessing, let alone Kathleen Kennedy's blessing.
So Kevin, like, how are they going to get that past Disney?
They won't. Salt or Look Who's Talking 2.
We've talked about these movies before.
We have?
In different pairings, but yes.
Okay.
Salt, interesting kind of spy thriller. Not worth a second watch. Look Who's Talking To. It's still kind of fun.
I absolutely loved Who's Talking.
Look Who's Talking.
Look Who's Talking. Absolutely love it. One of Bruce Willis's greatest roles without him being on screen, to be honest.
And oddly, Kirstie Alley was really good in that one too.
And I don't know why John Travolta gets flack for this movie.
I don't think he deserved any flack for it. I think he was fine.
He was pretty fucking good in it. But in the second one, it's not good. It's just not. Roseanne Barr, not crisp like Bruce Willis. Doesn't work well with Bruce Willis. I would rather watch Salt. Salt is a great take on the Nikita story, but with a whole different twist.
That's fair.
Okay? So, La Femme Nikita, sort of that, not really that story, but a different kind of a way.
It's an interpretation of the narrative, yeah.
Yeah, I would watch that any day of the week.
I'll give you that.
Right. Braveheart or Donnie Darko. I really need to rewatch Donnie Darko, to be honest.
You know what? In retrospect, it's really not that good. It's.
Ooh.
I've watched it recently, and I'm like, once you see the plot pacing, it's like this is really it doesn't really stand up as a full cohesive narrative. As a kid who was goth in the early 2000s, Donnie Darko was my life. Donnie Darko and Fight Club. Seen about 10,000 times. No, Donnie Darko, Fight Club, and The Matrix. Yeah.
Okay. I get it. So Braveheart.
On the other hand, though, Braveheart, even though it is historically inaccurate, it's completely it's so completely wrong. Like they even got the only thing they got right was the Battle of Stirling Bridge. That's the only thing they got right. Everything else, categorically wrong.
Yeah,
they didn't even. They didn't even wear kilts. No, they didn't have kilts then.
I'm gonna pick Braveheart
I know.
because
I'm going to go with Braveheart as well.
it is such a good movie, but you really have to dissociate yourself from any kind of historical record whatsoever.
That, and also you actually have a lot of disassociation between the main actor and director and who he became.
Uh, I'm not gonna hold a candle to that because there's a lot of demonization, and I've heard the alleged phone call, and I've heard the let's say using the cops as a Jewish reference. I don't care. I don't care.
Okay.
I know a lot of people do. I don't care. It's
Well,
not
we all did agree on the same movies. That's
a
fine.
Kevin Spacey situation. Let's just put it front and center. Captain America Civil War or Kindergarten Cop. This is our last pairing of the night.
This is the easiest one, honestly.
Okay.
Meth.
It's not
Who is your father and what does he do?
It's not a Tuma. It's not at all. I don't really care what people think. Civil War was not a bad Marvel movie.
No, it wasn't a bad
was
Marvel movie, but they should have saved
so-
Civil War for the actual comic book Civil War, which we could talk about that for a long time, but
I
that
know.
really didn't pan out the way that they wanted it to. So, yeah.
It was
Hard pass.
just a little bit too long for me. And the General Zemu thing did not work well for me in that context.
Well, see, they should have set it up in a previous film as well. They should have done another Captain America film that was in the vein of Winter Soldier, because Winter Soldier, I think, is one of, if not probably one of the best Marvel films, because it's more of a spy action movie, not a Marvel film.
I agree.
And Baron Zemo fits well in that narrative than what he did in Civil War.
Agree. What can I say?
Yeah.
All right. So the party. So it's an impromptu party, so you don't have to bring gifts because that has something bearing to do with the story. Now,
Because it's his birthday party, but also her saying that, you know what that means, right?
you means you have to bring in gifts?
You better bring some fucking gifts.
Yeah. Now, I love the fact that Mr. Park has corralled Mr. Kim. Don't worry, I'm going to pay you extra to run around and play cowboys and Indians because Desung is so into Indians.
Well, that so right before. Well, okay, we'll talk about the scene with Kiwoo and Dahe, but that happens before this. But after this scene in particular, what's most important is it's now kind of the final break in Kitaek and Mr. Kim's mind, where essentially he's actually trying to have a moment where he's a moment of understanding with Mr. Park about you love your wife and everything. Mr. Park had mentioned before how Mr. Kim has kind of crossed the line sometimes, but never really gone over it. And that's when Mr. Park cuts him down immediately and says, "You're getting paid extra. Just think of this as part of your job." As in, no, I don't want to get to know you. No. You're here to work. That's it.
Yeah.
Again, talking down to him as he's his better.
And before that, the conversation with Kiwoo and
Dahe.
Dahe.
I know that name specifically because I had a friend of mine in college who was, oddly enough, in my Japanese classes, who was from Korea. Her name was Dahe.
Run me through this. I kind of had a sense that he feels sorry and he wants to sort of confess, but he doesn't.
Well,
I had a sense. I know it's a feeling. It's not what happened in the scene, but
in a way, but really his intention is to try to understand if Dahe sees him as her equal, where she could see him belonging with those people down there. And for that, like, let's not get it twisted. He was taking that rock down there to murder Guanse
Oh,
and Moon Guang. Like,
yes.
full stop. He was going down there because this was his ticket.
Yeah, and to me, he was kind of thinking of killing the guy who was peeing in the alley because he took the rock, but then he left it there and replaced it with that water
bottle because the father gave it to him. No, I think that was more to just scare him when he took the rock up there with the urinal. I don't think he was going to hit him with it, but when he's going down in the basement, is like, well, also the way that he even says it, the people below her,
Yeah.
which again, symbolism.
Yeah, symbolism. How weird is that in a movie, right? Showing you
Or,
not
or as Key would say, it is so metaphorical. I'm giving Ki Woo now like a Valley Girl accent because I just now want to hear him say it's so metaphorical.
Yeah. I love the fact that you could tell he doesn't have the stomach to do it though. I never had the sense of him being able to actually do it. And
I don't think he would have either. The only reason why he failed is because he fell down.
Yeah. And when the stuff kind of turns on his head again with the husband down below kind of getting the upper hand and having him in this neck thing as it like a dog collar or whatever. It's like, oh shit, this is going to go bad. Real bad.
The first time I watched that, because again, the first time I watched the film, I'm like, don't go down there and kill them. All you need to do is remember what prevented her from moving the bookcase and from him getting out was a little hot plate underneath there. I thought that he would make the smart move the rock underneath the case with all the different kind of distilled waters, with all the flavored waters. Move it underneath there to make it so he could never move the bookcase again.
And to be honest, I thought Ki Woo died.
Yeah,
that was a lot of blood.
Well, technically, he should be dead. There is no way that he should be alive.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, but for an effect, you see that sort of pouring of blood coming out of his back of the head.
Well, that, and also not to mention the fact that like he didn't hit him once, he hit him twice.
Yes. Yeah.
There is no way he should be alive. No.
And of course, again, the guy's name, the husband, Guanse, comes out, picks up a fucking knife, and he just charges outside. And I don't think he was going for Ki Zhuang. I don't think he went for her specifically. I thought he was just going for a target, like the entire Kim family, not just specifically her. He just got to her first.
Well, to be fair, you have to give credit to the random party goer who actually does try to stop him.
Yeah.
Well, after he stabs Jessica or Ki Zhuang.
I'm just wondering what I can do to have it on screen because it's moving a lot. Well, we'll get this, I guess.
Well, because he keeps calling out Jong-suk, trying to call out the mother because that was the name that Moon Guang gave him before she died.
Yeah. Exactly. And the mother, the Kim family mother, makes it to the big fucking kebab spike.
Well, that also, just as a side, we mentioned it before, but also when Kim Jong gets stabbed, her reaction plays exactly per her character type. We mentioned this before, but it's on point. She just says, "Oh shit."
Yep, exactly. But But of course, Mr. Park gets stabbed as well.
Well, Gwonsei gets stabbed by I keep messing the names up, by Chung Suk. Then as he's falling down, because it's actually Mr. Park or Dongik
There we
is
go.
calling out to Kitaek, like, give me the keys, give me the keys. I have to get my kid to the hospital because he saw the ghost come to life,
Yeah.
covered in blood, because he had been bashing his face trying to get the Morse code
Yep,
out.
exactly. And he saw the guy comes in, and he just immediately went into
Just-
seizure.
Yeah, he just passes
And
out.
Mr. Kim is like, "Fuck this." And again, we talked about how his rage was building up and building
Oh,
up.
well, the thing is, too, what really got him was when he went to throw the keys, Gonsei falls on them as he's dying.
Yeah.
When he looks to Mr. Park, and Mr. Parker's like, I have no idea who you are, random stranger who's apparently living in my bunker. But he gets the keys. He even lifts his nose up and tries to plug it. And that's when Kitaek, Mr. Kim, just like, nope, that's it. I've had enough. You
I've
gotta
had
go.
enough. And of course, everything kind of goes into fade to black. And now we have the aftermath kind of sort of to tie in the entire movie is where Ki-woo wakes up in front of a cop and a doctor, and the doctor
And he's just laughing.
and the doctor's like, yeah, it happens on like when somebody gets hit in the head, they laugh a lot. And the
It's like, so do I have to give him the whole Miranda rights thing?
yeah, and the detective is so like, but I have to give him the Miranda. I have to interrogate him. What is this thing? It's like, are you not listening to the doctor, or why are you so indignant to what is happening here? Do you not understand? And we learn that Mr. Kim has vanished. Ki-jong is dead. They went to this entire place that
It's essentially a mausoleum. Yeah.
a mausoleum, basically, with her urn and all that stuff. And he's still smiling. Ki-woo is still smiling, whether it's sort of like he gets the dark joke that was told and was unraveling their life, or he's still from getting his head banged. We don't know. Because he goes into this spiel of he's gonna, look inside this house and look
Well,
at
no, he goes to see that and he sees the lights flickering.
Yeah, I know.
And he
goes
realizes
to
it's
see the
Morse
house.
code.
There's that newscast of we don't know where Mr. Kim is going to. By the way, as soon as I saw the newscast, I knew he was in the bunker.
Yeah, because it was clearly obvious.
Clearly obvious he's in the bunker because he vanished. It's like, oh, nobody knows the bunker is there. Nobody knows.
Also, wouldn't one of the real estate agents fucking know that?
I don't know.
Because you think the architect would have to disclose that in the blueprints of the property when he built it?
I really don't know.
So, anyway.
So we have Ki-woo kind of spying on the new people in the house. We get to see there's a little scene of them interacting.
Family.
And then he notices the lights.
The lights, yeah.
And as he notices the lights, he remembers the story from the guy who was occupying the bunker, and he starts to write down the
Morse code. Mm-hmm.
He sits like there's a scene where he sits down in the subway and he kind of figures out what's going on, and he conveys Mr. Kim's story basically.
Yeah.
While talking to us, the viewers, as unraveling everything.
How he really felt remorse about how he killed Dong-ik Park, Mr. Park. Like he really didn't want to do that. He just snapped, and he did feel utter remorse for it. How he actually felt so bad about how Moon Gwang, the former housekeeper, died, that he actually took her body out and buried her.
where they both had that conversation of the sort of the being an Indian and paying extra and all that stuff. I thought that was a nice little, again, symbolism or a kind of a homage to, oh, you know where we sat behind the bushes and talked? That's where I buried your former housekeeper, kind of a thing.
Yeah, and then also his line, how the new occupants of the house are Germans. He just says, "Turns out Germans eat more than beer. Sorry, eat sausage and drink beer. Thank God."
Yeah. As he skirtles about. And he even mentioned the fact that their housekeeper is always alert. The new housekeeper.
Yeah,
Always alert. And it's really hard to go out and get some food in the middle of the night because she's always there. So he says that the Germans are not there most of the time, but the housekeeper is always there, and
Always
it's
there.
really hard to get some food.
yeah.
Which kind of is the same with the other guy who was there, right? But his whole advantage is the fact that the housekeeper is his wife.
Was his wife? Yeah.
Yeah. And then Ki-woo has a dream and a plan of actually making it big and like buying the house and setting his dad free. And we have sort of that dream sequence of the dad coming out of the bunker and then meeting his son. He has this, I'm going to say it, a BTS haircut.
BTS, yes, I know. I was thinking the exact same thing. I'm like, wow, you look like a Korean pop star now.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of, if you don't know who BTS is, just let me explain. Let's just say if you know who the Backstreet Boys are, it's like that times 1,000 in Korea.
It's that times 1,000 even in America now.
Really?
Yeah, they still have hits, which is crazy to think about.
I can tell you this. My daughter's 13. When she was 10, she had to explain BTS to me. And I was like, have you listened to any of their songs? And she said, no, it's pretty shit. It's like, daughter, I love you. Keep listening to Queen and all that stuff.
Well, see, that you're just raising a good kid. That's all.
Yes. Anyway, this whole dream sequence kind of ends with the fact that we kind of mentioned the fact that Kim says a good plan is having no plan at all. But when the movie ends, and this is something I had to find out on my research, it ends with a song. And the song is Ki-woo singing what happens after the movie is over.
Correct. Yeah.
And this is where he divulged the fact that, well, he's going to college, but he has to take on a job, and the job is like hard labor. And he figures out that it will take him about 500 plus years to pay off the house, which means it's basically a pipe dream of setting his
well,
dad.
and also, like, to be fair, the ending is kind of heartbreaking. Where even before the song, he just says, "Well, until I see them, so long," and that's
it. Kind of ends with that, where he can't even reach his dad because there's no way of getting inside the house because there's no way, there's no recommendation.
You know, in so many ways, this is very odd. Again, it's a very different medium, very different story. But it reminded me so much of how easily, like just two words, like so long, reminding me so much of the end of Cowboy Bebop.
Oh,
Bang!
Not really, but I get what you're going for. I get what you're going for. Yeah, kind of like you said, like a drop mic kind of a moment where you're left with. Well, it's the end of the story, but it's not really the end, is it? And you don't know, and then it ends. And credits roll. It's like, oh, there's something extra here, but then it goes into that song. And again, if you're not, it's a Korean song. If you don't know what's going on.
Well, if you don't speak Korean, you have absolutely no idea. Yeah.
I had no subtitles for the song, so I didn't know what was going on. I just turned off the movie and just started to think of what I just witness. And then researching and finding out, it's like, this makes a whole bunch of sense if you're trying to wrap up the story without actually wrapping up the story and giving some people context of what's going on. And when I heard about the TV show and how it kind of not is really telling you the story about the Kim family, it's just telling a whole bunch of stuff around it, talking about the class system and all that, kind of giving you different stories from different angles, but it kind of relates to this movie in a way. And I found that very interesting. Again, just to summarize the movie and kind of wrapping everything up. Glad I watched it. I liked it. I liked a new story. For me, it was a new story, but with elements that I've already know about the culture. That's the class system. I didn't know about the culture. It's very interesting that I knew it out front. Mostly because of Squid Games, and kind of trying to find out some details about that kind of a story. A very interesting movie. Is it a must watch? I don't think so. But if you want to dive into like Korean storytelling, that has to be on your top 5 list of watch. That, I think, Old Boy. I haven't seen enough Korean movies.
No
But
Love for I Saw the Devil?
I Saw the Devil for sure. Can go on that list. But I need to watch more. I keep saying it, but I need to
Well, also like one that's a horror film that everyone should see, Train to Busan.
Train to Busan. Yeah.
The movie's so good.
Again, it's different genres, but a good, solid Korean storytelling. And this is how they tell their stories. Very interesting way.
So what you're telling me is, Jeff, overall, picks for your birthday month, 3 for 3.
Yeah, for sure. It's 4 for 4, to be honest.
Well, I technically didn't pick as good as it gets. So,
Well, we'll see next week. All right.
yeah.
Next week, I forgot the name of the movie. Is it Big Dinner? Big Show?
Night.
Big Night. Big Night. See, the movie is Big Night. It is 1996. Stanley Tucci and what I was gonna say Monk, but it's not Monk. It's Tony Shalhoub. Tony Shalhoub, Stanley Tucci. A movie that people have completely forgotten, and there's a big fucking reason why.
Yep.
Yep. But it's a movie about food making, which is why it is on the list.
Yep.
So go check it out. I think it's free on Tubi. Check it. I don't have Tubi.
I think it's free on Tubi in the States. It's also free on Freevee as well.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
So check it out. It might be even free on Roku if Roku has that movie. It's so obscure. It's really obscure.
It's very, very obscure. It might be like if you can't find it on one of those free ones, it might be a little bit hard to find.
But it's, to be honest, it will surprise you how many big movie stars are in it. Except like Tony Shalhoub and Stanley Tucci are not big movie stars, but they're big enough, right? They're well known for other things. You would be surprised how many big movie stars are in this movie, which is very interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. So go try and watch Big Night and come back to us and we'll talk about it endlessly. I don't think we have a guest, but it doesn't really matter. And remember, guys, until next week, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things. And no good thing ever dies. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.